In the kingdom of Aurea, the king and his knights ride through the hills as they chase a dragon. They follow the beast into a cave, where the group sees something that leaves them in shock. At that moment the dragon flies in and breathes fire to kill most of the knights in one go, then she uses her tail to capture the remaining knights one by one and kill them too. Lastly she approaches the king, who falls to his knees to wait for the end. Many centuries later in a land in the north, Floria and Elodie are chopping whatever wood they can find. They're the daughters of the local lord and are trying their best to help their people, who are suffering from hunger and cold because the winter is ravaging the land. More and more people are leaving every day, which means they may not have a town at all soon. Suddenly the sisters see a carriage come by, which is strange because they never get visitors. They rush back to their home to find their father Lord Bayford and stepmother Lady Bayford talking to a nun, who says Elodie will do before leaving. Lord Bayford then tells Elodie that the royal family of Aurea wants her to marry their prince. At first Elodie refuses, but Bayford changes her mind when he points out that their town will receive enough money to save their lives for many years to come. Sometime later the family sails to Aurea. When they get close to their destination, the ship enters a very thick mist and the group gets scared of some creepy figures in the dark, but they turn out to be two giant dragon statues. Once they land, the family is amazed by how prosperous the land is and the magnificence of the castle. The servants take them to their rooms and inform them they'll meet the royal family the next day. Elodie goes to the balcony to admire the view and notices on another balcony a girl her age, who is soon taken away by a maid. That night, Elodie can't sleep so she keeps herself busy drawing. Then she goes to the balcony to get some fresh air and notices there are no lights in the other girl's room. She's also surprised to see torches in the distance, meaning someone is going up the mountain in the middle of the night. The next day, Elodie's family meets the royals. Queen Isabel sends Elodie to spend some time with Prince Henry before the wedding. After the initial awkwardness, Elodie and Henry hit it off and have a very pleasant conversation. After Henry compliments Elodie's artistic skills in her letter, Elodie asks about the torches she saw last night. Henry explains it's one of 3 ancient ceremonies that honor their ancestors, that's why the wedding is on the same day. Meanwhile in the castle, Lord Bayford finishes discussing the deal with Isabel and looks very upset. Lady Bayford tries checking on him, but he snaps and promises nothing is wrong. Afterward Lady Bayford tries to chat with Isabel, who doesn't take it well. When Lady Bayford explains she thinks the families should bond and get along, Isabel says this is only a transaction born out of necessity. She needs a princess and Bayford's land needs money. She also reminds Bayford that she's the daughter of a rope maker so she shouldn't forget her station. Lady Bayford notices that Isabel says Elodie's name wrong and tries to correct her, but Isabel doesn't care and leaves. In the evening, a worried Lady Bayford goes to tell Elodie that there's something suspicious going on, so she thinks the wedding should be cancelled. But before they can discuss things further, Lord Bayford shows up and sends everyone to bed. The next morning, the maids help Elodie get ready for the ceremony. She's given a beautiful dress that includes a blunt dagger and a diffuser with perfume. The wedding goes well, Henry and Elodie exchange rings, share a kiss, and Elodie is given her own crown. Afterward Elodie says goodbye to her family and gets on a carriage with Henry, who explains they'll join the ancient ceremony on the mountain. They go up a rocky set of stairs and Elodie is shocked to find a bunch of people wearing creepy golden masks, not to mention Isabel dressed like a nun. The queen gives Elodie a coin saying she'll be helping protect the kingdom, then they go inside as Isabel shares a story. When their ancestors arrived on this island they discovered a dragon lived there as the last of its kind. The dragon attacked the village as soon as it saw the humans settle down, so the king gathered his soldiers and tried to fight the beast. However the dragon killed everyone except the king, who had to give up his 3 daughters so the island could be shared. As she listens to the story, Elodie notices how everyone stares creepily at her and the fact they're crossing a dangerous bridge above a chasm. Then Isabel explains the king's sacrifice is what they celebrate every generation before cutting Henry's and Elodie's hands. She pushes them together to mix their blood and covers them with a cloth, announcing that Elodie is now officially of royal blood. Next Elodie throws the coin into the chasm, thinking it's the end of the ritual. Henry picks her up to carry her through the bridge, only to suddenly apologize and throw her into the chasm too. Screaming as she falls, Elodie hits a bunch of branches until she lands on a mud puddle and passes out. She wakes up moments later with various bruises on her body, but she still stands up and starts yelling for help. There's nobody left on the bridge, however her voice does wake up the dragon hidden deep in the cave. Then Elodie cries as her desperation turns into fury and she tears the fancy jewelry off before trying to climb out. Unfortunately she falls again and gets another injury. At that moment she sees other jewelry that doesn't belong to her and realizes the royals have been sacrificing girls to the dragon for years. Suddenly she hears a noise and turns around to notice a light inside a cave, so she goes inside to find a bird on fire. Elodie immediately uses some dirt to put the fire out, but it's too late, the bird is already dead. Suddenly a roar echoes in the cave and hundreds of birds on fire come out, flying above Elodie for a few minutes before they drop dead around her. With the little bodies serving as lights, Elodie tries to look for an exit only to freeze when she sees the dragon coming. Elodie runs to hide behind a stalagmite as the dragon starts talking, saying that every generation of royalty must pay and that she can smell it in Elodie's blood. Looking at her scar, Elodie realizes the ceremony is done to trick the dragon. The dragon tells Elodie to run and she does so as she screams, managing to enter a tunnel as the dragon breathes fire behind her. The flames enter the tunnel too, but Elodie manages to find a safe spot just in time. There's a burnt body there, and she realizes it's the girl she saw on the balcony. When she hears the dragon coming after her again, Elodie tries to escape through a small hole, only for her dress to get stuck in it. The flames are getting closer, so after lots of struggle Elodie manages to remove the crinoline and run away, hiding in a smaller cavern. Unfortunately, some fire still reaches her leg and burns it, causing her to scream in pain. The dragon hears her but can't reach her because there's not enough room for her giant body. Once the dragon is gone, Elodie remembers the blunt dagger and hones it against a rock to then cut off part of her dress. The pain in her leg is unbearable, but she pushes through and bandages the wound with the torn fabric. Next, she opens the diffuser and catches a bit of fire in it to use it as a lantern. Now she can explore the cavern and eventually finds a very narrow passage. She begins crawling through it and her dress gets stuck in it again, so she pulls until she's freed and slides down in the process. Elodie tries her hardest to hold on, but her hands are wounded and tired, so she falls again and the fire in the diffuser goes out. Refusing to give out, Elodie stands up and holds onto the wall to walk, determined to reach a light she sees in the distance. After some very painful walking, she leaves the tunnel, only to almost fall off the edge of a cliff.